Is it gone? Hello and welcome back to the Off the Post podcast, the Everything Arsenal show, call-in show. So this is a call-in show. Anyone watching this wants to put their opinions about what we're talking about and wants to come on, call in, come on the screen live. There's a link pinned to the comment section below. The link there, click that link and you go into the back room and I can bring you on and you can have your say. So this is what I want to try and do, something new. Try and recruit some soldiers to the army. Football Dad's Army channel. Dan the Gooner from the Gooner channel's with me tonight. Hello, Dan. How are you?
Very well. Beautiful.
Very well. We've got a few things to talk about. We're going to open up. We've just had a little backstage little chat about Declan Rice. I'm adamant. I know you got a difference of opinion. I'm adamant that this Declan Rice deal should have been done by Arsenal before now, because now Ilkay Gundogan is going to Barcelona on a 3-year deal, and now Man City, boom, they've come in for Declan Rice. They was waiting to see what was happening with Gundogan, in my opinion, and now I know what Man City are going to do in my mind. What I think they're going to do is they're going to go in with a big offer, 80, 90 million plus Calvin Phillips. And West Ham can't turn their nose down at that because Calvin Phillips.
That's outbidding us. That's fair enough. But then they would always have done that. Nothing's really changed. We're in this situation now where Declan Rice has always known that Man City was potentially, certainly he's known Man United as a potential destination. Yeah. So them coming in, I don't think makes any difference, right? I think this is a player who would have known he has options.
Yeah.
Now, if what you're saying is if we'd have gone in and got the deal wrapped up, there was no way, if you have an asset that's worth an undisclosed amount of money, but possibly 100 million, possibly 110 million, someone comes in and offers you 80 million, you're going to wait and see if anyone else offers it. But if we'd offered 80 million and they'd accepted it, Man City would have swooped in with an 80 million offer. No one's getting into a bidding war. They don't need to. The only way this becomes a bidding war is if a Chelsea or a Man United keep driving the price up. But at the point where, I
was going to say that's what I was afraid of. Other clubs getting involved.
If that was going to happen, it's going to happen. There's what's bothering me is people going, Edu Gaspar's let us down. We're Arsenal. Pep's sitting on Man City. They've just won the treble. It comes down to a very simple thing. If a player knows he can come to both, he either believes in the project and the process at Arsenal, or he wants the definite. When it comes to it, we can't offer the kind of salary that Man City offer. So if this comes down to salary, we're not competing with Chelsea. We can't compete with Real. There are some teams out there, very few compared to last year, by the way, but there are teams we can't match. Now, the whole point is Declan Rice has apparently told us he wants to come to Arsenal. Now, if he only said that because he didn't think Man City were interested, then, well, we got gazumped. A better offer came along. There are better teams for him to go to. My feeling is this doesn't change anything. My feeling is he's already had conversations with Arsenal. Here's what I think happens. Man City make an offer now. Let's say they offer 100 million. You're West Ham. Do you accept it? Or do you wait and see what Arsenal do? If they accept Man City's offer, Man City's offer, all we've got to do is match it. And then you go, Declan, it's up to you. And here's the problem I have with Arsenal fans at the moment. They're kind of going, we've blown it because we've allowed Declan Rice to know that Man City are interested in him. They would have been talking to him for months, since January. Pep would have had a conversation with him because we know Mikel has. And these guys will talk to him. And it's whether you want to go with Mikel or Pep. That's it. Pep's at City for another 2 years.
But wasn't that on the, on what I was waiting to see what Gundogan was going to do before?
No, listen, Gundogan, first of all, they don't play in the same position. Second of all, I don't think there was that much doubt that Gundogan was going to Barcelona. I think he was always going to Barcelona. You bow out at the top. Man City did not offer Ilkay Gundogan a 3-year contract. They offered him a 1-year contract.
Yes.
Barcelona offered him a 3-year contract. What do you think he's going to take? If Man City really wanted him, they'd have kept him. The other question is around Bernardo Silva. There are players leaving City.
Yeah.
Right. There are players leaving City. And let's say another thing. People saying to me, oh, if he goes to Man City, he's guaranteed a title. I think Declan Rice knows if he comes to Arsenal, we'll be challenging for a title. And no team's won 4 in a row before.
No.
So what they're trying to do now is difficult. They lose some players. Kevin De Bruyne is a year older. Erling Haaland towards the end of the season wasn't having a great one. It doesn't have to be this way. Man City don't necessarily win the Premier League next year. And if they win it next year, they don't definitely win it the year after. if Declan Rice has not considered up to now that Man City might be interested in him, then this is going to be a massive, great surprise. And he's going to be going, oh, well, I never thought I could play for City. Oh, this is amazing. And signs for City. And then he was never our player to begin with. Right? If he's already thought it through and he goes, I know City's a great team, but I can become captain at Arsenal and I'm not fighting Rodri for a position. Right? There, I believe in Arteta. I like the players. I like to see what he's done with players. I love what he did with Xhaka. I love what he's done with Odegaard. I want to be at the Arsenal because people see the future. When Alex Ferguson was signing a lot of his best players, it wasn't because they were already the best team in the country. It's because people could see they were becoming it.
Yeah,
and that makes a big difference. Pep Guardiola is leaving City in 2 years' time. That's a fact.
You're the voice of reason.
He can go and be part of the 2-year process.
Yeah.
He's 24. Can Arsenal win the title the next 4 years? Yeah.
They should do, hopefully. Hopefully they will. Yeah. We'll come back to Sam the Seaman protector, but we're going to come to Kai Havertz next. Thanks for your comment. You've actually made me relax a bit about it because I was actually upset about this.
It's the media, Lee. The media is spinning us around like plates. I'm telling you, it's just craziness.
It's twisting me melon a little bit. Yeah, twisting me melon a bit.
You don't go in and offer like West Ham could easily have taken 90 million off us. They would have taken 90 million six weeks ago if you'd said they don't know what they're going to get from Man City. Come in and offer 100 million. The price is 100 million.
Yeah.
If they accept Man City's offer, we bid 100 million. It's Declan Rice's decision.
So
if it's all about money for Declan, he goes to City.
So simple. What are they going to do?
Refuse? We know that.
They're going to refuse. How does it work then? Do they say Man City bid 100 million? Do they refuse that offer, or do they
They wait. They wait and see what we're going to do. They wait and see what we're going to do. They say we've had a bid for 100 million accepted by City. They come back to Arsenal and say, "What do you want to do?" Or they don't. They let us wait. But if it's a business transaction, if it's a house, right? If you and me want a house, right? And the owner doesn't really care who the house goes to, he just wants the most money for it. But if I find out you've had a bid accepted of 100 grand for something or 500 grand, I'm not going to bid 501. I'll just go, 500, and you choose which one you want to go to. That's all that this is. Man City coming in, you could look at it another way. I know everyone's jumped on the, panic, Man City. He's always definitely going to choose Man City over us. I don't think he's always definitely going to choose Man City over us, by the way. But let's say that he's got a better chance of joining Man City. The argument seems to be that nobody knew Man City were going to be interested in him. This is just silliness. If the only way we can get players is if Man City don't want them, then we're just going to have to deal with that. We're not as big a club as Man City. We have to look elsewhere. The market's silly. What will happen is that Man City or Arsenal, one of the two clubs, will have a bid accepted. Then the other team will bid exactly that much because there's no point in bidding more. Once the bid's accepted, West Ham will do everything they can to not accept a bid until they're absolutely certain there isn't a higher bid coming in.
I think we'll pull out of it. I don't think we'll go above 100 million.
I'm a poker player, Lee. If you can't get up and walk away, if you can't fold, if we are so committed to Declan Rice, then what are we going to do? We cannot offer the money Man City are offering him. We can't. No. You might as well not bother. Man City play Erling Haaland roughly 900,000 a week.
Yeah.
Our top earners on 300 a week. We're not competing on money with Man City, but Man City are hoping that money will do it and a guaranteed title. I look at it differently. If I'm Declan Rice, I'm like Rodri is the gold standard of defensive midfielders. Your minutes at Man City are going to be less than your minutes at Arsenal. Guaranteed. Look at Calvin Phillips.
No, he plays every game for Arsenal. If he's fit, he plays
Declan not only plays every game, but he has a chance of becoming captain.
Yeah.
He lives local. He doesn't have to leave an area near his family. We've always known he could go to City. There's a chance he could go to Real Madrid. There's a chance he could go to the guy can pick his club. Because right now, the biggest, most demand position, since Enzo Fernandez went to Chelsea for 100 and whatever that turns out to be, the biggest in demand position is defensive midfielders. Right? So you look down the list.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's only too many that could be a bargain.
Yeah.
Look at players like Caicedo's could go for 80, 90. He's got a year and a half in England, barely speaks English, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm hearing Juventus. What? So why do Arsenal sell Thomas Partey for 18, 20 euros, 20 million euros?
Mate, that's a whole different question. That is a whole different question right now.
Defensive midfielders are the hottest property in football, and we haven't to pay.
No, but hang on. There is a big difference between a 24-year-old captain of a club who plays brilliantly for England and is available for all but one game in 2, maybe 3 years, and Thomas Partey, who's over the age of 30 and has this massive cloud hanging over him.
But I get that. But wasn't he being touted as the best defensive midfielder in the league up until
for 2/3 of the year? March? For 2/3 of the season, he was. For this 2/3, but the problem is, and this is where he bothered me, and I'm not saying I didn't rate his performances, but he went.
Oh, you seem to have lost your connection there. You seem to have froze down. Hopefully, Dan will come back. Dan? Oh, no. Something seems to have happened here. Gremlins have struck again. The Gremlins have struck again. I don't know if it's my one or his. Let me just message Dan. Oh, no. Oh, he's back. Well, we seem to have lost Dan. Hopefully he'll come back soon. But he was talking about Thomas Partey. I mean, I don't understand that. I know he's got a cloud hanging over him. I know there's some allegations been made. I mean, we can't really speak too much about that. But does that really hinder the value of a player of his ilk that much different between, what Declan Rice, 100 million, the Chelsea midfielder, what was it, Fernandez? Is it Fernandez? All that money, they're going to wind up paying about 140 million for him. Casemiro at Man United, he's getting on a little bit as well. They paid a lot of money for him too, but it's 18, 20 million to Juventus. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right to me. We know the Saudis are interested in him as well. Hopefully, he might go there, and we'll get a lot more money, more towards the 50 million price tag there. I'm really sorry about this. I'm just trying to get Dan back. You have gone off. He must have lost his connection or something. I've just texted him. Hopefully, he'll sort his internet issues out. He's come back. I think he's back in the green room, backstage. Let's hopefully he comes back on very soon. I feel a little bit stranded. Here he is. He's back. Dan's back. I've got a bit stranded there.
It's always overheats my phone.
It's like a deer in the headlights. I was a bit like a deer in the headlights here, Dan.
I'm here now. The cavalry's back.
Yeah, the major's back.
I was right in the middle of just saying, look, Thomas Partey there is something about Thomas Partey. Look, if you look at the thing that really interests me is you look at how players celebrate goals and who celebrates it with them. You look at a club, when you're building a club, it's all about, with Arteta, it's about family. It's about bringing teams together and friendship groups and like people getting married and getting involved in the club as a family. I don't think Thomas Partey fitted him. I don't think Thomas Partey, but let me also say this, Thomas Partey has decided he wants to leave. This isn't Arsenal pushing him out of the door.
Okay, I've heard conflicting stories on that as well. I've heard that Arsenal wanted to get rid of him because of this cloud.
Why?
Because of this cloud, this issue
I think they would have done it sooner. This is not a recent issue. I've only just started talking about it because I tell you why. Mark Goldbridge came out and said that this looks bad, that Arsenal are trying to get rid of him now when they wanted him for a title race, but as soon as it got past the title race, they're getting rid of him. And I think that's unfair. I think that first of all, we have to accept that he's innocent till proven guilty.
Yes.
The accusations online do not add up to a legal system. Maybe he's innocent, maybe he's guilty. I don't know enough about it, and I don't have an opinion. But he is the one driving this. He's being offered money in Saudi, maybe a lifestyle in Saudi away from England. I don't think he's really fitted into. I don't think he loves it here. He's done his time here.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the season, he fell away badly. The irony is, at the very end of the season, he played that inverted right back really well. I think, given the amount of times Arteta played him, that I think he'd keep him. I think if Thomas Partey said, I don't want to go, he'd keep him. But then, I don't know if it's going to come down to Thomas Partey wants to go. He's the wrong side of 30, and he'll probably have to go.
I hope he goes to Saudi myself, because we get more money for him, and it'll help us, help us financially. Because they was offering along the lines of 50, 60 million, and Juventus are offering 80 to 20 million euros. which is well below his value, and Arsenal.
I don't know. I don't know how much players. I don't know if he went missing for the big games for me.
He did.
So the first game he went missing for was Man United.
Yes, he went missing at Liverpool. The 2-2 draw. The 2-2 draw.
Well, I think he did all right in the Liverpool game, but I think what happened was in the City game he wasn't available, and when you look back on it, he came to London with no injuries whatsoever, never had any time off Atletico at all. And then he started picking, he hardly played a full season for us at any point. And what I was saying before I got overheated and my phone died on me was that I like to look at where players celebrate with each other.
Okay.
I just don't think he's as important. Yeah. I think if Declan Rice scored the goal that Partey scored against West Ham, he'd have been mobbed. Yeah. Right? And Partey's never mobbed.
No, well,
I don't know if
he doesn't score a lot either, does he? He
doesn't score a lot, but then he scores almost as many as Declan Rice. I don't know which one of them scored more. It might be just an equal thing. I think it's 2 and 2 in it. But I think that the other thing I saw, which I thought was really interesting, but it's quite an old-fashioned view of it, right? So people have been saying, if he comes, if Thomas Partey stays at Arsenal or leaves, if he leaves, then how are two new midfielders going to come in and play the same system? And I'm saying I'm not sure what system we're playing next season. But I didn't get it right this year. If you'd said to me at the start of last season, we're going to play Zinchenko. I remember having a conversation with Sean about does Zinchenko play as a left back or does he play as a midfielder? And I said, I'm pretty sure he's brought him in as a left back as cover for Tierney, not necessarily even thinking he'd be first choice. And it turns out we were both right. Because he said he's bringing him in for midfield, and in the end, he's playing inverted.
Inverted, yeah. But he's not quick enough to get back to cover himself because we've been exposed down his side on numerous occasions, especially
the left is where we concede our goals. We concede our goals down the left, or most of them, and so we need with Zinchenko. If he had the Declan Rice in front of him, I think he concedes fewer goals. If you've got Xhaka in front of him, I think Xhaka was a good cover, but Xhaka was asked to get forward more, and I don't think Xhaka did both really well. I think he's good at both, but an upgrade on him is definitely Declan Rice. Yeah. I think Thomas Partey had a great. There's players who have great games against teams that you're supposed to beat, and then there's clutch players. There's the players that come in and help you win games you shouldn't be winning, right? We've got a couple of those clutch players now. We've got a few Sakas and Odegaards, people who can change it, potentially Jesus. I know we're going to get onto Kai Havertz. Yeah. But I think at the moment, Thomas Partey, we can upgrade Thomas Partey. But that's irrelevant because I think if Thomas Partey turned around and said, you know what, 2 more years at Arsenal, we'd keep him. Yeah, but I've went off him like way before it was rational.
Excuse me,
there's just something that wasn't right about it. There's something that, whether it's the cloud hanging over him, whether it's that I didn't feel like he was gelling. I just think for the big games, Thomas Partey, if he's as good as, people saying, he's the best DM in the country. I've never thought he was the best DM in the country. I put Rodri ahead of him. I think Rodri's more dependable, but, City have got a couple of backups to that, and they have a couple that can play in that defensive midfield position already. For me, I think if we are looking to bring in someone like a Lavia, then we don't need Thomas Partey. But then we've also got Albert Sambi Lakonga coming back. So panic over, everyone. We've got Albert.
Oh my God, not Bambi Lakonga. Once I've just got to get a bottle of water. Dan, sorry, mate. I've run out. And get me pumped. 2 seconds.
Yeah. So that's because he's agreed with me on everything I've said so far. As you can see, he's just running to agree with me. Listen, if you are watching this and you disagree with anything that you've heard so far, it'd be absolutely brilliant to hear from you. Although I am going to say, I think that we should always have known Declan Rice was going to have a choice between teams. We shouldn't be worried about Thomas Partey leaving, and we should embrace Kai Havertz as the future of football. He is so...
No. Kai Havertz, I can't believe this deal. I can't believe we're going to move on to Kai Havertz now, are we?
I mean, unless you want to, I don't think there's anything more to say about Declan Rice. The only thing I want to leave it on is if you tune in to Fabrizio Romano, to AFTV, you got people acting like this is a bolt out of the blue. How can the mighty Man City? No one will ever resist Man City. They get every player they want, and maybe. But if you're going to beat them in the transfer market and they get every player they want, it's not fair. There is no fair. Look at what Chelsea are doing right now. If a player doesn't, Koulibaly goes off to Saudi Arabia. It's the same Saudi Arabia that's invested a huge amount of money in Clearwater, and there's so much filth going on in football at the moment.
That's Top Bowley's company, isn't it?
Yeah. Clearwater. Listen, if we wanted a level playing field, we're never going to get it. It's never going to be fair. You have a number of things to tempt a player with, right? We have a project, a team, the players you want to play with. You're a footballer. You pick your next destination based on where you're going to live, who you're going to play with, and what your prospects are going to look like. Now, for sure, at Man City, I think he's got a better chance of winning silverware more quickly. For sure. Definitely the Champions League. Definitely, look, the way they play the League Cup effect. Yeah, you'll have more silverware. But if you believe in yourself and you think I'm a player that can make a difference and I can go and be a captain, I think he stays. I think he goes to Arsenal.
I'm very concerned about Man City getting involved. I know you have been the voice of reason a little bit, and you sort of you made me think outside the box a little bit instead of being reactionary. Like I normally, sometimes I think, oh no.
It feels like a girl's told you she likes you, and then a very good-looking bloke's entered the room, right? At a certain point, we're all surprised when the good-looking girl says, "No, I still prefer you." We're all like, "Oh, lovely." Right, but it does happen. It does happen. Yeah. Dennis Bergkamp picked Arsenal. Thierry Henry picked Arsenal.
Yeah.
It wasn't because no one else wanted them. It was because Bergkamp is a mystery, but he must have spoken to Arsene because there's no way he's talked to Bruce where you can go and get me over there. But
he signed the same day as David Platt, didn't he? Do you remember that?
Yeah, and what a signing that was.
Yeah.
But Platt made a bit more sense because he was playing in Sampdoria, I know he's been playing at Lazio. So listen, Yeah, so that was great. We had the England captain sign for Arsenal. There are times where we get players that we shouldn't probably get. Look, the same people saying that you choose. You don't think that Bukayo Saka could have gone to Man City?
Yeah, obviously, I think he could. He could if he wanted to, but I don't think he wanted to.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt whatsoever. Right now, you don't think Martin Odegaard could go to Paris Saint-Germain?
Well,
Real Madrid. You don't think one of those teams would come in for one of our players? Martin.
Would he go back to Real Madrid?
Huh?
Would he go back to Real Madrid?
No, I don't think he would. I think he chose Arsenal over Real Madrid because I think he believed in Arteta in the process. We're going to find out in this transfer window whether Declan Rice believes in the process or not. If he does, he's joining. If he doesn't, he's not. It's never been any different. It's always going to be that. You cannot go around saying to people, "Oh, there's no such thing as Man City, by the way, Declan. It's only us that want you." Don't answer the phone to them because they're scumbags. Look, Declan Rice has been talking to people from Man City. He has known since January or before because he refused to sign a new contract 18 months ago. He's been 18 months.
200 grand a week, wouldn't it? 200 grand a week they offer him.
He's on about 120 now, so he's turned down 80 grand a week for 18 months.
It's cost him about 10 million, isn't it?
More. Right, so
the point,
but so the point is, it's not all about money for him. He has said he's ambitious and he wants to win everything. And look, if you're Declan Rice, your choice is go to Man City, who are the top team in the world, and see how many you might get. You might replace Rodri. You might play alongside him. You're going to get a decent number of minutes, right? And you can go up and live in Manchester. Look at. Let me ask you a question. If Manchester is such a brilliant place to be, Raheem Sterling wanted out. Gabby Jesus wanted out. Zinchenko wanted out. Ilkay Gundogan's gone now. Bernardo Silva. There's no way he's staying, right? Players are going. They've done it. You don't know what team you're entering. Erling Haaland had an amazing season. Maybe he is just that good and he'll have that amazing season every time. Frankly, I think that really good players have a great first season and another team start to play them. And look, Pep's a tactical genius. Is Pep's fire going to be up like it was last season? Why are Man City stalling and not able to get deals over the line? Because everyone criticises Arsenal for not getting any deals done. They've done Kovacic, right? Yeah. We've done Havertz. Listen, it's not a foregone conclusion that Declan Rice gets both offers and decides he's going to Man City. It's not a foregone conclusion at all. And if he does, then that's who he prefers to play for. I can't cry about it. You know, like when Messi doesn't want to come to Arsenal, we don't have the luxury of going out and getting the very best players. But you have to acknowledge progress. We're talking about one of the biggest transfers. It's going to be one of the biggest transfers in British transfer history, if not the biggest. And we're being talked about as one of only two teams that can do this. Last year, do you think we would have stood a chance getting Declan Rice?
Not a chance. No, not a chance.
No, so we're progressing.
Finishing
we've
fifth.
Tied that. If we don't do any other business, we've tied down Saka, we've tied down Saliba, we're tying down Odegaard, we've tied down Martinelli. We are making sure Ramsdale, Ben White's the next one. This is one of the first years where we haven't had to look over our shoulders and go, oh God, we've got a good player. Everyone's going to want him.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
We've managed to keep, I'm happy about that. We're constantly losing our best players.
We're not losing our best players this summer.
How many players have we lost to City?
To City? What?
Yeah. Well, about
Nasri, Adebayor, Clichy. I mean, like it went on and on and on. Yeah. We went through this period of the stadium taking up our funds and we needed to raise extra money from transfers, right? We misjudged the amount of money that was going to come into football. So we sold players instead of waiting for the lucrative deals to come in. Mm-hmm. And that's not a mistake. That's just a good, sound business practice that went slightly wrong. No one knew that Qatari sheikhs were coming in and Abu Dhabi sheikhs were coming into the business. So the game changed, right? You're seeing Tottenham go through a similar problem at the moment. They've overinvested in the stadium. But for us, this is the first season where we go, do you know what? We've got a war chest. Yeah. We can go and offer the same money as almost every club. But we can't offer the same money as Chelsea. We can't offer the same money as Man City. We probably can't offer the same money as Man United. And we definitely can't offer the same money as Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, or possibly even Bayern. So there's 6 clubs that we probably can't beat to a transfer. And last year, there were probably 106 clubs we couldn't beat to a transfer. So let's see where we are next year. And if Declan Rice decides, I wish him all the best. I hope West Ham spend the money wisely and we move on, wipe our face. Never get excited about a player till he's got the shirt on, right?
That's true. You know, but I don't know. I'll get a bit. I'm a bit too old. I'm like a kid at Christmas. You know what I mean? Just getting so excited about these players. I'm a bit too old to do that, really. But
you're like a kid at Christmas who thinks he's getting an Xbox, and then one of your friends at school goes, "You're not getting an Xbox." You can't just believe everything you read. The newspapers. Sorry, there aren't newspapers anymore, but it's the same bloody headlines every day in different formats. Rice. Look. We know this is £100 million deal. It's going to take some time to do. And we're dealing with David Sullivan, who's slipperier than eel in a bucket full of snot. This guy's not just going to go, he's not just going to go, 100 million, lovely Kushti, see you later.
Yeah.
Oh, true, Simon Jordan said something brilliant. He goes, if David Sullivan told me what time it was, I'd check my watch. Right? Yeah. We know from our West Ham friends, they don't trust him either. I think he'll do what's right for West Ham. And what's right for West Ham is get every last sovereign you can, every last penny out of this deal, because you're going to need it. Now, I can see them offering Calvin Phillips going the other way. But if I'm West Ham and they offer me 90 million plus Calvin Phillips, that's 150 million quid deal.
I'm biting your hand off for that deal. I'm biting your
You'd
hand
have
off.
to, wouldn't you? What do we do to match it? Emil Smith Rowe isn't worth what we'd have to throw in Balogun. And there is a point also, and I just want to say this because we're all kids at Christmas. I want Declan Rice. I think he's the difference. But sometimes you don't get what you want. Sometimes you do not get what you want. We didn't get Benzema all those seasons ago when we nearly did. We didn't get Mbappe when we offered 96 million while he was still on loan to Paris Saint-Germain. We didn't get Lionel Messi when he was a young player. But I think more about not the players that we got, but the players we lost. Because we lost Fabregas, we lost Robin van Persie, we lost Ashley Cole, we lost player after player after player. And now we've got a squad full of players that I love, and we're not losing any of them.
Not for the foreseeable future anyway.
Huh?
Not for the foreseeable future.
No. And you know what?
Yeah.
People should be much more calm about it. Like Edu Gaspar. People say to me, oh, well, I think Edu needs to be sacked if he can't get Rice. It's like, what? If you can't convince someone not to join the world's best team, he should sack him. All right.
I don't believe they should be sacked. I know you're talking about who keeps calling for the ball on YouTube all the time. I know the geezer. He's starting to really get on he's grating on my nerves a lot. I know I sound off a bit sometimes, but I don't want no one to get the sack over this. I know you're going to have to go, for F's sake. You know what I mean? I really wanted that, but better offers are made and we lose out. We get that. Why should the ball be sacked? Edu sacked. Arteta sacked. Vinay sacked. Kevin Garlick sacked. He wants them all sacked.
You know what drives me mad, Lee? It's all people who've never done a deal in their lives. And they'll go, I would have got Rice over the line. You go, how would you? Well, I would have given them what they wanted. No one knew what West Ham wanted. We haven't made 2 bids because we didn't think they wanted it. Right? Also, little fact here, but Arteta and Pep get on quite well.
Yeah. Oh, of course they do.
I wouldn't be surprised. Hold me to this. Wouldn't be surprised if Pep's got a phone call from Arteta and he's gone, do me a favour, just put 100 million quid bid in for West Ham and say you won't go a penny over that. We'll bid 100 million as well. And we both know Declan's coming to us anyway, right? But you just phone him up and go, you bid 100, we'll bid 100. And if he wants to go to you, he goes to you. And if he wants to come to us, he'll come to us. And if you want to offer him stupid salary, that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's more, you're thinking better than what I was thinking, that's for sure.
Everyone's reading it. Look, we all do it. First thing in the morning, I'm waking up. You know what the first thing I'm doing? I go onto the news. What's happening?
Yeah.
And do you know what's happening? Nothing.
Sky Sports News, transfer thing on Sky Sports.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you know what they report? 99% of their day. Fabrizio Romano. I have it on good authority that Man City are interested. Mate, I could do these stories. I can make up a story right now. Paulinho. They were talking about Paulinho. Fulham have set a £90 million asking price on Paulinho. Well, do you know who's going to sign him for that? No one. Not even his mum if she had 150 million. Right? Yeah. No one's paying 90 million for Paulinho. It's silly business. Yeah. Right? And so it is merry-go-round because West Ham wanted Paulinho. So Fulham are looking at it going, they're about to make 100 million. How much can we get for? It's just silly business. And we all get led round by the nose. Imagine if I said to you, you're not allowed, there's one channel, you're allowed to look at BBC Sport and they'll tell you when it's done. The rest is just us having nothing else to talk about. That's the reality of it. The on-off saga. We want if I'd say something else as well, because I know we're coming on to Kai Havertz, and you and I think we totally agreed on this last week. He's an Arsenal player now. So whether I would have signed him or not is irrelevant. Right? Yeah. We're in a situation where for the first time in quite a long time, I didn't really want us to sign a player, but we looked like we broke our, we almost broke our transfer record to get him. We didn't, but it's a big statement bid right at the beginning of the window, right? And he hasn't had 3 good seasons at Chelsea, but he was a superstar as a teenager. Maybe they've seen something in him. But for the first time in the Arteta reign, I'm looking at it going, this was a dud. You shouldn't have bought him. But I'm happy to be proven wrong, and I think I will be. I think I might be proven wrong.
I didn't want him either. I want to be proved wrong. In fact, apparently he's having a medical abroad over the weekend, and he's back on to be announced on Monday or Tuesday.
He's coming. I'll be the Fabrizio Romano if you want. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
But no one knows shit, do they? Because I tell you for an absolute fact that Edu's not phoning up the various news outlets and going, I'm thinking of bidding this much for this player, and everyone's making it up. Fabrizio's got some agents, but I tell you what, David Ornstein, He's been breaking all these stories.
Yeah.
He has some insiders. We know I would just go to sleep till the transfer window shuts or to the pre-season games, because I've been talking to people today again about where's he going to play Kai Havertz. And I go, do you know what? You got to wait about 3 weeks to find out, haven't you? Because we've got pre-season.
Everyone's
5 weeks.
Everyone's speculating about him playing as a number 8, like he did when he was at Leverkusen. But I don't know, man. Like, it's been the replacement for.
This is it. It's this desire. When we were football fans as kids, you had the back pages of the paper.
Yeah.
And they didn't write this much. There wasn't this much space on the back pages of paper. So they go with a big story, then you have small stories inside. We wouldn't have a lot to. Now we've got all this media bombarding us, and we constantly asking somebody. It's like asking your mate what time a parcel's going to arrive on an Uber on Amazon. He doesn't know, but instead of going, I haven't got a clue, mate, wait till it gets here. He goes, well, I have it on good authority that it's going to be a bit earlier than you expected, or a bit later. No one ever holds their feet to the flames when they get it completely wrong, by the way. Look at the players. There's still players. I mean, I've been saying for the last week, we're not getting Ilkay Gundogan. If Barcelona go after a player, we don't get them. They would go. João Cancelo's waiting to see if he can go to Barcelona. Ilkay Gundogan went to Barcelona. It doesn't look like they can take both of them. This might be opens up João Cancelo. I don't know, by the way. But I do know that most of the news stories I'm reading are not news stories. They're just bullshit. They're just, it doesn't say anything.
People say that for traction. People make these stories up for traction, and they do get it. And they get it.
Of course. Listen, why wouldn't you? Right? But one of the reasons I started my channel was because I think it's time for grown-ups.
Yeah.
People going to me, what do you think Declan Rice is going to do? Here's what I think Declan Rice is going to do. Declan Rice is going to do what's right for Declan Rice. I don't know Declan Rice. Maybe he really doesn't want to leave London. Maybe he's like, do you know what, Manchester's not that far. Maybe he really loves the Arteta project and sees it and believes it. Like, because we haven't had a phone call from Arteta. We've never had him pitch it to us. But the guy does a good job of pitching it to people, because he phoned up, because we go back to Odegaard. Odegaard wasn't the success story he has been this season, but we saw him on loan. I couldn't believe how many people didn't want him and wanted Maddison instead. I couldn't believe
I'm one of them.
Really?
When he was on loan, I don't think he was that great. He was like Tobias as well when we had him on loan the season before.
Mate, you cannot compare Odegaard with Tobias.
Yeah, not now, but then when he was on loan,
I'd never rated Tobias. I mean, but then Tobias at Madrid now. Playing really well.
Yeah.
I think he might get an extension if he hasn't already. On a level, as much as we can love and watch football, there is something that we're not seeing about the Arsenal project, and that is Arsenal's got these players like Bukayo Saka, Saliba. I mean, look, 2 months ago, these same news vendors that are telling us all what's happening with Declan Rice were telling us that Saliba was going. He was interested in Paris Saint-Germain. We've even had L'Equipe, who run more crap stories than any other newspaper, La Marca maybe, but like L'Equipe saying, oh, PSG have offered Arteta a job. Yeah, he turned it down in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Why? It's all about money and superstars. Why wouldn't you go to Paris? It's all about winning something. Why isn't Declan Rice going to, why did Declan Rice tell Bayern Munich no?
Because he didn't want to go to Germany, I suppose. Or he wanted to go to Arsenal. He had something he's got.
I think he wants to go to Arsenal. I think he's had to think about it. He's not a silly boy, and he's gone, there's something happening at Arsenal.
He wants to be part of it then. Like when we bought Petit, Vieira, in them days back in the 98.
Mark Overmars, mate. Mark Overmars. When we signed Mark Overmars, they told us, he's lost a yard of pace. I said, well, he'll still be 2 yards quicker than everyone else then, won't he? He came to us.
Brilliant player.
We do get surprises. I think the biggest surprise, I was talking about this last week because I was just remembering. I know exactly where I was the day I found out Ian Wright was signing for Arsenal. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in a cafe in Highgate at the bottom of the village, up from Highgate Road. And I was sat there and I had a coffee and a back paper and a back page of the Mirror with Ian Wright. Ian Wright didn't know he was signing for Arsenal until the day, right? and we signed him out of nowhere, and I just knew he was going to be a legend.
Didn't he score an hat-trick against? Didn't he score an hat-trick against Crystal Palace
his first league game? So he went up in the League Cup midweek, and he wasn't supposed to play. We had Coventry, and he got thrown on because I don't know who wasn't fit, but he got thrown on. Kevin Campbell-Smith wasn't fit or something, and he scored this belter against Coventry. And then on the Saturday, he scored a hat-trick, and everyone was like, yeah. But there were people saying, Ian Wright, he's not good enough. Why'd you sign him? You've already got strikers. You don't need a striker. Listen, you know, how many players have been signed by Arsenal in the past where you've just gone, I don't get it. But there are players when you know, you know. And I feel like that about Declan Rice. I feel like Ian Wright could have gone elsewhere. There are so many players in our history.
Were he friends with David Rocastle? Did he grow up with David Rocastle?
Yeah, they're both from the same estate in South London.
So
he wanted to come Arsenal, but it wasn't Ian Wright's choice. That was David Dean did a smart bit of business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, we have signed
players at Arsenal.
Huh?
Since David Dean's left, it's not been the same, is it?
I love him. I read his autobiography, and I just think for a man who's put that much of his life into Arsenal, he's been treated really differently by the Cronkies.
He brought us Arsene Wenger and all from Grampus 8.
Because Arsene Wenger asked him for a cigarette. If Arsene Wenger hadn't been in England as a stopover from a game that he'd watched, and he hadn't got up to David Dean and asked David Dean for a cigarette, we would never have had the Wenger era. Crazy. Yeah.
Just mental, wasn't it? When he Monaco manager, he was Monaco, then he went out.
He left Monaco because of the Marseille transfer scandals. You know, like they had the bribery scandals. Marseille made it to the Champions League, and everyone found out that Bernard Tapie was dodgy. Mm-hmm. So they were match fixing, and he just had enough, and he left. He was like, I don't want to stay in France anymore. He went to Japan because he couldn't win the league with Monaco, but he had Thierry Henry at Monaco. Got planes going over it. See that on Alien Invasion.
Was it Glenn Hoddle or Gary Lineker that played under him in Japan?
Glenn Hoddle played under him in France.
Okay, was it Gary Lineker then that played in Japan under him?
No, interesting story. Arsene Wenger moved into Gary Lineker's flat. So when Gary Lineker left Nagoya, Arsene Wenger moved in, and when Arsene Wenger used to fax people, he used to come from Gary Lineker's fax because he still had Gary Lineker's fax name on it.
Right, okay. I knew there was something in the back of my mind. I couldn't think what it was properly.
I think we've got to look at this Kai Havertz as listen. My concern is that Kai Havertz is where Arteta just thinks he can perform miracles and turn him into a great player. Right?
I think Chelsea are like that.
My worry, huh?
Chelsea are like that.
Mate, just Chelsea. What can you do? You can't fight these people. You know, you're looking at it going, they're stuck with a load of dead wood they can't sell to anyone.
Excuse me.
And then suddenly Saudi comes along and we'll take Kante. Yeah, you want rid of Koulibaly. We'll take all these players, give you a handsome amount of money. Now your wage bill's a lot less, and you've got money for them. We can't compete with Todd Bowley the way he spends money. We cannot compete with Sheikh Mansour at Man City. What I'm saying is that there are these. I looked at Paris Saint-Germain quite a lot through their history, and they've thrown everything in the kitchen sink at buying the Champions League. The key thing you need is a really good manager. Now, we think we've got a really good manager, but we're about to find out. Yeah. I believe in him. I think he's learning really quickly. He's made mistakes. He makes progressively fewer mistakes. People forget that Alex Ferguson took over at Man United in 1987. Or it might have been 86, actually. No, I think it was either 86 or 87. And they came a whisker from firing him.
Yeah.
Because it takes time to get your team in, how you want them to play. You know, a lot of the players were talking about when they were interviewed saying that it's taken them some time to understand Arteta's system, but last season they started to understand it. I think that people respect his coaching. You got Jack Wilshere on the Fozcast talking about when he saw, and he spent his career mostly under Arsene Wenger, and he said, like, honestly, Arteta's training is different. It's different level. He gets a lot out of the players. They've bought into it. They really like him. I think we might be sitting on a really, really good manager. And for me, the fact that he turns PSG down without even thinking about it.
I've got to apologise for this. I'm suffering a bit with the hay fever and the asthma.
I have to tell my missus every year that I don't get hay fever because I'm sniffing and aching and yeah, it's horrible.
But it's causing me to cough. I've got a little tickle in my throat. I've done about 10 bottles of this. 10 bottles of this water. Oh, I'll keep going away.
I was going to say scotch there.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Done about 10 bottles of this.
Yeah, Cronenberg. Yeah.
So I think Kai Havertz, what do I know? Like, I could make it. I've watched him loads of times and not seen a player, but I think Arteta's made mistakes. He's stuck by Willian far too long.
Yeah, this is a very expensive mistake though, and it's give Chelsea the money to go and buy Caicedo, which
that's the bit that drives me mad. Why would you put?
Yeah.
But Arteta seems to genuinely think that if a player like Kai Havertz comes up for just 65 million, which is the second most we've ever spent on a player, you have to bite their hand. I mean, he must love this guy.
Yeah, he must.
And I've seen a lot of like Tifo IRL, different knock. The guys have looked at his stats and they've gone, look, his goal scoring stats are terrible. But in terms of possession, forward passing, runs with the ball, finding space, he is a really quality player and he works hard up front off the ball, which is what Arteta likes. I don't think he is I don't think he's a missing piece of the jigsaw. I think, I would have rather seen Caicedo and Declan come in. Yeah. But we have the same problem with Brighton and Caicedo. They're going to take as much as they possibly can, and Chelsea got silly money.
I'm not sure it's a great idea. I don't know how to put this because I'm worried about that central midfield now. If Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey leave, I'm worried about because the new players coming in, all right, but they're gonna have to get used to this whatever system.
That's what I was saying to you earlier, Lee, because you're saying they're gonna have to get used to this system. We don't know what system he's going to get them used to.
Yeah, we don't know what way he's going to play. So
he could play something completely different next season. I don't know.
Maybe that's what he's looking at. Maybe that's what he's looking at.
I think we've got Jorginho, who will understand the system. He's an incredibly intelligent player. I don't want us to start the season with only one midfielder coming in. And I'm not sure if I think Xavi Simons is the 8 that we need that frees up. I think we've got Emil Smith-Rowe. I'm really excited to see how he does in the preseason because we'll see him at an 8. I really think that... Pardon?
I think he was playing today in the under-21s, Emil Smith-Rowe.
Oh, God, I didn't even... Yeah, because I saw the... We lost I'm terrible at the under-20s, but we lost the first match, didn't we? 2-0. Or was that No, it was a pre-friendly.
Okay, but I know they was playing today. I know they was playing today.
Yeah, and also Vieira's injured, so he can't play for France. For Portugal.
Right. Okay. So I know he was playing. I think he was because I was looking at it earlier, and I think he was on the bench, Smith-Rowe. And there's not for the under-21s. There's not a striker really. I think they was playing with Anthony, Anthony Gordon.
Oh, really?
Up front. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out because I plan to watch it, but I don't set reminders and I get lost in these things.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I think we've got. Listen, if we don't make any more signings, it's going to be a real worry to start next.
Well, we're signing a centre back from Ajax apparently.
This is really interesting. This story is really fascinating because we made a 30 million bid. So see if you can unpick this. We've bid 30 million. They went nah. But Jurriën Timber has a clause in this contract, a buyout clause, which becomes announced the end of next week. So the deadline for that clause kicking in starts in just under 2 weeks. Then everyone will know how much it's going to cost to get Timber. Here's what I'm thinking. His agent must know what the clause is. He must have given an Arsenal a heads up. I reckon it'd probably be about 40 million. We'll go in and we'll get him. And I haven't seen enough of him, but certainly from what I know about him, what you know about him, he's a centre-back, can play at right-back. He's tidy on the ball. He's an Ajax player, so he's going to be comfortable in lots of positions. He's supposed to be similar to Ben White. Ben White obviously has had 2 good seasons for us, one as a centre-back, one as a right-back. It's a good bit of business.
I don't know enough about him. I know he's. I think he's had 15 international caps. I think he's won. Was it 2? Is it 2 2 titles have they won? Is he?
I think he won one. I think he's won one.
And then also
came
young.
third
He
this
was
year.
best player in the Endersphere, whatever the league's called.
He's won player of the season, I think. And
player of the season, twice.
He's unquestionably a good player in the Eredivisie, but like, I don't know what that means. I don't know how much game time he's going to get. I think he's the kind of signing we wanted. On balance, I think I prefer him to Fresneda, but I don't know much about either of them. But João Cancelo's still floating around.
Yeah, that's true. But will he go for him? I don't know.
I think we will.
You reckon?
I'm less confident now because of the whole, Timber deal.
The old Timber deal.
Well, no, listen. I don't know if João Cancelo's really desperate to come to Arsenal. I think he wanted to go to Barcelona as well.
Yeah, he's not happy in Germany, is he?
But if Barcelona can't have, there's no real firm interest in him.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, he might, but I think he's more likely to go to Paris Saint-Germain or something like that than Germany.
Okay.
Or there might be another Premier League team.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I've heard. Do you know what I've heard as well? I know this is going off topic a little bit, but I was very interested to hear it. That remember Justin Kluivert?
Yeah, God, that's a name I haven't heard in a bit. Yeah,
Justin Kluivert. Apparently, he's. I was just come up. I was just flashed up a little while ago. He's going to Bournemouth. He's going to Bournemouth. But I think
how about them sacking their manager?
That was terrible. That was a terrible.
O'Neill.
Yeah, he kept him up, and they said, "Well,
I thought he was great. I thought his interview he did after losing to us in that Nelson goal, and I just thought this guy's got something about him. He's a good lad. This one.
Yeah.
And then he kept them up in style.
What a goal that was! Reece Nelson.
Goal of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what's giving him a new contract, I reckon, because I think we're trying to sign him to a new contract.
Yeah, and I'm not, and he's been there since 8. I don't want to see him go, but I don't see. Who knows? I think we all have to accept that football's changed. It's not about first 11s anymore. It's about squads. Man City don't really have
22-man squads or 24-man squads. Yeah.
I think Nelson's a good squad player. I think he could be upgraded. I think we've got players who should definitely be on their way out. On pure, listen, not because I don't love him, but I know we've talked about it before. Holding, El Neni, they're not players that we desperately need in the club. But maybe they bring something else in the dressing room, like snacks.
Yeah, true.
I don't know, but look, there are players. I'm surprised, but it looks like we're keeping Kieran Tierney. So at the same time as everyone's bawling about we might lose Declan Rice, we're already, it's just too easy to. Everyone these days, if they don't get exactly what they want when they want it, they start throwing accusations around. And I've never done £100 million deal, by the way, so I'm not phoning up Edu telling him he's done a bad job.
No,
I haven't got the faintest idea how long it takes to do these deals. I have no idea. I'm sure it's not as easy as just picking up the phone going, "Here, do you want 100 million for Declan Rice? Send him round in a cab, will you?" I don't think it works that way. I think it's a lot of crap involved.
A lot of legal. My nose is running like a tap now.
I think one of the great things about Declan Rice is that his dad is his agent. He doesn't have an agent. They have an accountant and a lawyer, and so it actually won't. It's not going to be that. He'll get the best money he can. Look, I don't know. Well, I don't want to drift back to talking about Rice, but ultimately people are going slagging off Edu like he hasn't done a great job. I want to remind people of the last-minute departure of Oxlade-Chamberlain or Iwobi. Players that we sold for money because we had to. Alexis Sanchez going at the last minute. We lost every good player until Aubameyang. And then Aubameyang, we had the whole drama of will he, won't he sign? Then he signed and went to shit. He was pitiful in that season.
He was. He done exactly the same what Ozil done. Ozil as well. Get that 300 grand a week, 350 grand a week, and then just go, thank you. And then just...
I hate to say it because I don't really believe it's intentional. I don't think that players like that do it, but I think you get to a point in your career where, look, I think Ozil, if he'd had better players around him. There are a couple of players. I think this would be a subject for a really good live stream we should maybe do in the summer, where if you looked at it and said which player has been most let down. Because if I look at a player like Ramsey, or Jack Wilshere, obviously had his injuries, but for me,
I didn't hear you. Went off. Oh, he's gone off again. I think he was going to say Santi Cazorla, because that's some player. Hang on. Are you back? I don't know what's going on. We lost the connection with Dan again.
No, but I'm just saying, imagine Santi Cazorla in this team.
I wonder if it's his phone or his internet playing up. He's back. Here he is. Dan?
Never went anywhere. Hello, can you hear me?
Was you going to say Santi Cazorla?
Yeah. Imagine him in this team. Imagine if he was playing now.
Thomas Rositzky is another one.
Thomas Rositzky, 10 years, man. 10 years and what, like 160 games?
Yeah, I know. No, injury prone. Been very unlucky with injuries over the years.
Well, under the Wenger thing, there was this. Listen, I really love what Arteta does because he's getting them in for pre-season early as possible. There was always this argument that Arsene Wenger knackered them out in the pre-season, so they get into the start of the season fighting fit and fall apart at Christmas.
Yeah,
you know. And when you look at the injuries, we used to pick them up. It used to be that kind of terrible November. So I think that's changed. We haven't had the same injury problems we had under Wenger. We have got some tough ones like Tomiyasu. I mean, Jesus is worth pointing out, got injured training. Got injured at the World Cup. Thomas Partey, I think, picked up an injury with Ghana. But by and large,
and again, we've lost Dan. I think it must be a connection problem with Dan. But it's true. We haven't had the same problems since I was back. We haven't had the same problems with the injuries since the Wenger era. Yeah, things have moved forward. Maybe it's something to do with the staff as well, like the medical staff and.
Who knows? But it's better. I mean, the idea, if you'd had Bukayo Saka in a Wenger team, right, he would never have played every game for 2 years. No way. I mean, Wenger wouldn't have done it anyway. But if he had done it, he'd have got injured. And we're keeping our players well and fit and healthy, by and large.
I do believe there have been times when I thought that he should have subbed him off, Saka. But he stuck with him, and he's got all the faith in the world in him. And even if he's having a poor game, he sticks with him. And there's been times when there's a crunching tackle.
Now I think if Kai Havertz is someone you can bring on, if you know you've got Kai Havertz on the bench and he might offer you something a bit different from the right, or if Jesus isn't playing, because the other player he never likes to take off is Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, when he came back from injury, he was taking him off a lot. But by and large, I think I think we're in a really good space. I really don't know what Man City are going to do. I do think it's going to be hard for them losing Gundogan and Bernardo Silva. Kyle Walker getting a year older. They've had a big season. You know, I think maybe they'll go out and splash the cash and buy brilliant players.
Bayern Munich.
I think we've all got to be a bit mindful of Chelsea because they've gone out. They've got this ability to ditch all their crap players and go and get new players that can compete with anyone in the world financially. Liverpool a bit underwhelming at the moment. I still think they should have been doing more in the transfer market. Why aren't they in? I mean, they need a player like Declan Rice as much as we do.
Henderson's finished, isn't he?
Yeah.
Henderson's finished. I know they've got McAllister, but
that's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's all they've got. Yeah. So
and then now I saw rumours that Klopp might be going to Germany.
Okay. Well, he just signed McAllister, so why would he want to leave the club? That was his signing. That's the player he wanted.
When your country comes calling.
Yeah, true. It does. You know, the old patriotism comes into you, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
all right. So, Dan, I'm going to have to wrap this up because I can't get rid of this frog in my throat, and it's
look after
it's
yourself. Look after yourself. Have yourself fit and in good health for the next podcast.
Yes, for next week on your channel.
Yes,
we're going to go on your channel next week. Sorry, everybody, we're going to cut this one off now because you can tell by my throat. I'm suffering a bit with the nose and the hay fever and the asthma. Hey, yeah.
Wrap it up. I'm going to go and have dinner.
I've got to eat as well. So I'm going to say goodbye and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks, Dave. I'm sorry about that, cutting it a bit short, but like you can tell I'm struggling a bit, can't you? A bit sniffy, coughing and that. And I'll speak to you in the week, yeah?
Speak to you in a week.
See you, mate.